Hello guys, I hope you're all doing great. So as far as things are concerned, like current affairs are concerned, we have discussed our June month magazine completely. Now in today's lecture, our focus would be to completing the July month magazine. As far as I can get the idea, so basically today's lecture is basically concentrated on the completing three parts of the this July month magazine. Firstly, polity and governance part. Secondly, IR part. Third is economy part. But if the lectures has gone so much longer, then I might skip like the economy part especially. So, but my best effort would be to complete this lecture, like to complete all the three sections. Okay. So one by one we are going to complete it. So I hope you are like. So start karte hain. Let's start. So in the first news here, the news talks about special packages. As you have read in the news, like the state of Bihar, Andhra Pradesh have like spoken about some special finance requirement, and also basically this actually as we know ki, uh, the finance minister has announced right some budget concession to the those both of the state. So in that state, like how much like announced, that is something not to be like of our importance from exam perspective. What is the importance is this key, what special packages means, okay, to the states. So basically these are packages provided to the states who are especially facing geographical and socio-economic challenges, like the terrain is not favorable to them. Like we can talk about hilly states, Himalayan states, right? There might be some states who are very poor, right? So this state comes under category of like they are eligible under this special packages, right? So basically, under which packages, what happens? They actually provide additional finance assistance and other benefits that could be monetary and other ones like. So basically, as you all know, in our constitution, Article 371A to H talks about some special status for to the states. Okay, as you have referred Lakshmikant, then you must have read about it. So basically, special packages are a purely discretionary matter. Like it is under the like uh, jurisdiction of the central government whether to give a special package to state or not. So there, that like finance commission doesn't give recommendation with respect to discretionary grants. Okay, so basically what happens under Article 282 of the Indian Constitution talks about miscellaneous financial provisions, okay, under which there is a provision called additional grants, okay. Thereby, Article 282, which is about discretionary grants, empower both the state and center to make some grants for the public welfare. So, under this provision only, like under Article 282, the central government has announced some funds, or you can say special package to Andhra Pradesh and Bihar. So, moving forward, like these are not of our importance. Move forward. Second topic is about auditing of local bodies, right? Recently, what happened actually? International Center for Audit of Local Governments actually was inaugurated in Rajpur, that is a city in Gujarat, right? So, as we know, like as we have read in Lakshmikant, like the local government bodies are facing so much, like that they lack basically three F's: funds, functionalities, and functions, right? So three F's are so basically in this case funds are like if they do not have sufficient funds. Suppose if any local body have funds but they can't effectively manage it because of like there is no responsibility as far as audit is concerned. So for that purpose, International Center for Audit of Local Governments was established in Rajkot. It is the first in the country. Oh, okay. So what is the center is all about? So basically, it is a collaborative platform where policymakers and auditors would be meeting. It would serve as a center of excellence for capacity building to auditors, like how to audit, what is the standard procedure for auditing. Then everything is going to be discussed there only. It is going to work as knowledge center. Along with that, it will also give some inputs to the government how things can be improved at the grassroots level. So that is something they are going to discuss. If we talk about historical auditing, then like the historical background about auditing, then during British times, like in India when we were a colony, so local audit department was created in 1882 to audit accounts of municipalities and local bodies, basically, right? So that was something the first time, right? So when local audit department was established, you can just remember this fact. Further, like you might think, yeah, like where is so much need for like this kind of centers or like the local auditing, right? So basically, as far as the India is concerned, we have 2.5 lakh panchayats and 8,000 urban local bodies. So as might have heard about, like Gandhiji's approach was we should empower the villages and we need to make them independent, self-sustaining economy. He used to call them, basically means a village should have this kind of resources that it can fulfill its need, as simple as that. right? So their approach was ki, we should adopt bottom top approach, right? But our constitutional scheme is all about top bottom approach, right? You have seen like our central government is more powerful than state governments, and our state governments are more powerful than local bodies. So while Mr. Gandhi was thinking we should give more power to the local bodies, but the thing was not there as he was thinking. But whatever. So this is like the need of the hour. Like we have like 2.5 lakh panchayats, 8,000 urban local bodies. So we need such kind of systems for effective functioning of democracy. As we all know, 73rd and 74th amendment was there, through which the like coastal amendments were like provisions were inserted with respect to panchayats in part 9 and 9th A with respect to municipalities. You can already know about it. Further, what the government has also the government of India has taken some steps like the Ministry of Panchayat Raj developed an audit online application to conduct online audit of panchayats account. They can ensure accountability and utilization of funds, like how they are utilizing funds. So that if there is someone who can account, who can audit their accounts, so there will be some genuine understanding how like they will think about like spending those funds before like without wasting those funds, right? So first further this audit online report was also awarded the World Summit on Organized Society prizes as well. So there is something. This is not of your use. Further, current auditing mechanism, you might think like what is currently going on like with respect to the accounts of auditing of the local bodies and panchayats, right? So basically what happens, the Control and Auditor General of India actually exercise control and supervision our proper maintenance and audit and accounts of all the three levels of Panchayati Raj institutions and urban local bodies. So basically, the power of supervision and control lies with our king only. But how it is done, that is something need to be understood. Like there is an officer called examiner of local accounts or director of local fund accounts. In almost this kind of officers being appointed, he is the responsible one who audits the funds who are like utilized by the local bodies. So that is something you can remember. The overall control lies with our cake, but immediate control lies with examiner of local fund accounts in more the cases, because local bodies and panchayats are the basically state subjects, right? So that is something. Every state has some different mechanism, but yeah, nomenclature might be different, but the role is more or less same. So that is something need to further. Yeah, there is a very good concept, that is social auditing. Like what does this mean? Like suppose if there is any scheme is being implemented, suppose there is government scheme, okay, suppose this is Mandega, right, through which a manual employment is provided to the rural areas. So basically what happens, suppose this is a scheme that the government has like made this scheme, like there is also a, so like social auditing means like the gram sabha like conducts how much, like how the works is going on, how the implementation is actually taking place at the ground level. That is called social auditing. At the in midday meal midday meal scheme, like there is a now some of the states have announced a practice called social auditing, whereby they check the quality of the food and quantity of the food, along with it how much regular or like is there any irregularity or something. So that is something they are examining, right? Further, our government of India has taken some great steps like back to village program with respect to JNK, whereby it aims to energize panchayats, right, and directing development efforts through community participation. So as you know, like our JNK region is facing some of the serious militant problems. So to cope with those things, like our central government has taken such kind of steps back to village program. So you can just quote while writing your answers. So this will be very helpful for you, and it will like face more marks to you. Further, as far as local bodies are concerned, especially the Panchayat Raj institutions, here 46% are women representatives. Can you imagine? Like almost half of the representatives are the women. As you all know, like there is resolution for like thing for the like women with respect to 33%, right? So obviously 30% has to be there, but like more than 30%, like it's like 46% is there. So that is something impressive. Further, like this much the work has been done, whatever, right? Under the Mandega, okay, yeah. This thing you can remember as in the last like last month we also discussed alma mater declaration with respect to primary health care. So whenever there is uh, primary health care with respect to prelims exam, so you need to remember there is alma mater declaration that actually has given importance to the primary health care. Okay. Further, Atal Bhujal Yojana is something basically advocate for the sustainable groundwater management. Okay, so this we have discussed. Further, CBI, that is in the news. Basically, there is obviously some conflict with respect to the West Bengal and our government union government. So there is not of use. But what does it mean? Under Article 131 deals with the Supreme Court's original jurisdiction. Okay, so whereby it deals with the dispute between center or one or more states. So there is something. This is basically comes under our statutory bodies because right. So we already you know we are going to discuss this CBI. Okay, it's legal provisions or something in polity section only. So we don't need to discuss here only. So there are like you need to understand ki there is some provisions ki like CBI directly can't go right. There is some provision called in consent whereby section 6 of like Delhi 1 second Delhi's Delhi Special Police Establishment Act Delhi through by like this body was established right the CBI through which the it got the statutory recognition. So that act is Delhi's Special Police Establishment Act 1946. The provisions the section 6 of this act says basically every state government has the power to give or deny the consent to CBI officer. Like it can say like we don't want the investigation from CBI. So it has that power. Further, like accordingly, West Bengal government and like other many states have withdrawn their general consent. But there is called special consent as well, whereby like CBI like can't be denied to get access to this particular case even it is like in this state. Okay, so that is something. So this is going to discuss in the our politics section. Further, now comes about constitutions of France and India, right? The comparative analysis. Basically, uh, there was like our the French president formally accepted the recognition of prime minister. Okay, so basically this is something. Uh, that's why that is in the news, right? So basically, there is a very special day in the France, like that is July 14, right? That is called National Day. Okay, so that is also days Bastille Day, basically. Okay, what is like it? This day actually is considered as the beginning of the French Revolution. So like this date basically July 14, 19. July 14, 1789. This day is considered basically the beginning of French Revolution. So basically, what are the similarities between Indian Constitution and Constitution of France? So France was actually a monarch. Okay, before French Revolution. After that, it became France become a republic country. As India already is. As you heard about, like as we read in the modern history, like Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan, right? So Tipu Sultan was like very fond of like France because of the reason like there was some already republican system was there, democracy was there. So he was very impressed with the performance by the France, and he even planted the tree of liberty in his capital called Sringapatnam and called himself citizen Tipu. Okay, so that is something you can remember. It can be asked in the exam. Further, our Indian constitution ideals like liberty, equality, fraternity as being taken from French Revolution only, right? So liberty, equality, and fraternity, these are something as taken from French Revolution only. Both countries have a bicameral legislature, right? So in France, like lower house is known as National Assembly, while upper house is known as Senate. Uh, Provision of emergency is also there in both the constitutions. In our constitution is from Article 352 to 356. Okay, so that is something. What are those contrasting features are there? Some things like mechanism of expressing popular sovereignty, like how people exercise their vote. Basically, in India, it is done by representative, while in France there are two methods. Basically, firstly, obviously, the representative as being elected by the people of the France. Further, there is another method called means of a referendum. Okay, whereby which if there is any public decision has to be taken, then the consent of the people is like known right through the voting procedure. So like like how people the vote, accordingly this is being taken. Further, in India, president is elected indirectly, right? Or there is no limit how many times he can become president. While president in France is basically how it is like is elected for 5 years, okay, by direct universal suffrage, like like as we elect our MPs, MLAs, and local representatives, right, in local bodies, the same procedure is being followed with the case of president in France. And like no candidate can become like president with more than two consecutive terms. Like suppose now currently like Macron is the like president of the France, right? So he can rule the country for 10 years at a time. Then he have to take leave for 5 years. Then he can again continue with 10 years. So that is something. But in India, it's not like that. A president can rule for a number of times, right? Further, we have parliamentary system of government. They have semi-presidential system. So you can remember. Further, prime minister is head of government, right? So is here like as the case is like in India also, like prime minister is being appointed by the president, and like same with the like president appoint the prime minister. So you can remember this thing. Move forward. In India, we have integrated judicial system, right? We have at the top we have Supreme Court, at the lower, like at the middle level we have High Court, and at the lower level we have district courts, right? All the lower courts basically. While in in France, it's like little bit different kind of system is there, whereby if there is dispute between individuals, then administrative jurisdiction will take follow. Like there are two legal entities, right? And further, like if there is dispute between citizen and public authority, then other jurisdiction will take place. Okay, so like this disputes between individuals is considered as legal jurisdiction, right? And disputes between citizen and public authorities is known as administrative jurisdiction. So there are two kinds of systems is there. Or involvement of society, in civil society is there, but in India it's not like any case. Like there is a provision in the constitution itself, like there is a council called Economic, Social and Environment Council, whereby civil society get representation. Okay, so that is something that's very impressive. Recently, next we move forward to the next topic. Recently, as you know, like the election of Prime Minister of Nepal took place, and Mr. KP Sharma Oli was sworn as the Nepal's Prime Minister for the fourth time. But like the problem is this, like Nepal is basically going through instability. Why this I'm saying this thing? Because like since the abolition of monarchy in 2008, Nepal has experienced 14 governments. Like there has been 14 governments, like with very less span of time. So that is like Nepal is facing a serious challenge with respect to the instability. Further, recently government of India has constituted some 8 cabinet committees. So like how the cabinet committees are like formed. So basically this is under the rules of like transaction of business rules 1961. Under this procedure, these committees are being constituted, right? Further, like there are committees like 8 committees, whereby the economic affairs committee is very important. Other committees are included like appointments committee, accommodation committee, climate affairs, political affairs, like that, or further. But you need to understand who has these like committees. Like important committees are being held by Prime Minister, while like political affairs committee, economic affairs committee, and appointment committees are being chaired by the Prime Minister, while the parliamentary affairs committee is headed by the Home Minister. So that is something you can remember. Further, there is a term like which is used by many political scientists. So recently, accordingly, our Chief Justice of India, he's also said constitutional morality is essential to India's diversity. So we need to understand what it means, like what is constitutional morality, right? So firstly, we need to know the definition of this word. So basically, it says like the constitution provisions should be implemented in letter speed. Okay, it's not like shouldn't only be in the letter. Like suppose if there is a provision called untouchability, right? We have Article 14, Article 17, under which the abolition of untouchability is there, but it is on the letter, na? Until unless it is not being like implemented at the ground level, so it will be on the letter only, right? So that is something. So basically, it means we have to adhere to the constitutional norms, constitutional values. That is something known as constitutional morality. Like and examples can be like sovereignty is something, social justice and equality are, and fraternity, liberty, these are the constitutional values, right? And this person has coined George Road has coined the term for the first time. Moving forward, our some of the constitutional provisions are directly related with the constitutional morality, under which like fundamental rights are there, fundamental duties are there, and judicial review is one of among them only. Further, there has been some like Supreme Court judgments with respect to constitutional morality, whereby included like Krishnamurti case of 2015, whereby court said कि constitutional morality is essential for good governance. Like in this case, that as the recent this case is there, Mr. D.Y. Chandrachud has said कि constitutional morality is essential to the Indian diversity. In Krishnamurti case, the Supreme Court has said constitutional morality is essential for the good governance. Further, the case Puttaswamy case in the court said it is a duty of the court to uphold constitutional morality. From where, like this is the case is very famous because the right to privacy act, the right to privacy comes from this only, this case only. Okay, so this is very famous. Nafsi Singh Johar case is also there, whereby court said constitutional morality our social, basically this section of IPC was like nullified by the Supreme Court. Like it talks about criminalization of same sex, right? So that is something has been like nullified by the Supreme Court. So that is something. So basically, Supreme Court said like we consider constitutional morality our the social morality is something. You can just mention this cases in your answers whenever there is a question about constitutional morality. So moving forward, basically, once again, yeah. There is reconstitution of the Niti Aayog, that is not of our importance. Like, what is the role Niti is playing with respect to India's development, right? So that it has given the concept of cooperative federalism. It has given the concept of competitive federalism, right? Further, it also has done some phenomenal work with respect to regional and sector-wise intervention, like project like SAC, which talks about transforming human capital education. So you can just write down this kind of initiative in your answers. Further, Article 341 talks about the President's right to notify any area, scheduled area or tribal area, right? So this is something, the case is not related with us, but what you need to understand, the President can officially designate certain groups as scheduled caste, okay, right? For any state or union territories, right? Further, what you need to understand, like if it is done, like if it is done in the state, the first is governor is being consulted, okay, after before notifying any caste as scheduled caste, okay. So the president have does consult with the governor concerned, okay. You need to understand this thing. And I remember in 2024 films there was a question the president is being president consults with chief minister of the state. So that this statement was the wrong only. Further, parliament may by law include or exclude any caste from the list of scheduled caste or scheduled tribe. So this thing you need to understand. Moving forward, there is some always conflict with respect to governor, right, and chief minister of the state concerned with respect to opposition ruled states. So in the same case, in the similar way, the Supreme Court's judgments on the governor's legislative power are very important. This is the recent case basically, whereby state of Punjab case was there. Supreme Court said governor can't veto legislation by simply withholding consent of the bill. He must return the bill to assembly on withholding consent. He just can't keep the bill pending only. So that is something you can just mention. It is said governor is the agent of the center. So if you have to remove this notion, so the governor has should actively participate with the cooperate with the chief minister of the concern, because he is the directly elected person. Okay, moving forward, yeah. Further, there is a recent Supreme Court judgment on the mineral taxation. Okay, so basically what happened? Supreme Court then said the state have the power to levy tax on mineral rights. So you have to understand firstly what the case was all about. This case was only suppose this is the state of Jharkhand. Okay, there is a lot of coal and other minerals are there. suppose if any part of, like, suppose this is the mining lease, right? As if through the bidding and auction process, right, any company like gets the project, okay, right, it start the project, right, like start this operation. So what is happening, like what they have to do, they have to give a royalty basically. Suppose in general it is given 10%, right, like 10%, 10 like percent of the total sale they have to give to the that kind of share they have to give to the state government, because it's come in their state jurisdiction, right? So that is the state government has said in their case. Like earlier, the how much royalty is given, that is being fixed by the central government. So now the things has been changed. Supreme Court has said the state government has individual right to determine how much royalty they want from the this kind of projects. So that is something they have said. Like there was 8:1 ruling whereby Nagratna was like, she was not agreed, she has given dissenting judgment. So basically, uh, this is the this act is very important. This is fundamental act for the like mining governance. So Mines and Minerals Development and Regulation, or MMDR Act 1957. So that is something. So what like Bibi Nagatna has said, she said like, if you are giving taxation rights to the states, that will be going to adversely affect the environment and everything, right? So that is something you can remember. And court has actually overruled its 1989 judgment, whereby court has said that royalty is not kind of nature of the tax, it doesn't come under the MMDR Act. MMDR Act basically regulates the mining sector in India, as I already told you. Further, what you can remember, there were made some like amendments in MMDR Act, whereby central government was empowered to exclusively auction mining lease and composite license for certain critical minerals. Okay, like you have lithium, you have like cobalt, this kind of minerals which are very strategically important for energy sector and other defense purposes. Further, the auction would be conducted by the center, but mining lease or composite license will be granted by the state government only. So this is kind of dual system was there. Like mine auction will be conducted by the basic regulation was like to bring more transparency in the auction process. That was basic purpose behind these provisions. Further, it also like remove some minerals from the list of atomic minerals like lithium, beryllium, titanium. Basically, as you know, like JNK region has got like some reserves. Like recently there was exploration, and after the study, like there that has been key, a lot of minerals are there. You know, reserves of lithium are there in JNK region. Moving forward, there is a topic called foreign tribunals. So you need to understand what is foreign tribunal. It's a quasi judicial body. It is established under Foreigners Act, okay, and this is something unique. What is the authority? Basically, only foreign tribunals have the power to declare a person as a foreigner. Like, suppose there is a person called Mesh, okay, so whether he is a foreigner or not, the ultimate authority lies with the foreigners tribunal, okay. So it has the power of like civil court. You can just remember this only. Moving forward, this news is not very important because the like Central Information Commission comes under the polity part, and the Lakshmi Gandhi is already given. Okay, so we shouldn't always like make double efforts for it. Further, there is a topic called common service centers. Okay, so basically there is a like agency which is called Centers Special Purpose Vehicle. Okay, like its job basically is to like see the implementation process, like how much implementation of has been there of common service centers. So it's kind of, this agency comes under Ministry of IT and Electronics, okay, or basically that is something is doing. So we need to understand what is common service centers, okay. You can, so it is basically is a service through which what happens like in the rural areas, like in rural areas, like some center is open, okay, whereby like some digital like task is being like done. Like it's a collaborative kind of, it's like all in one place where you can just like you know like there are other services are being provided. ITR filing you can do, income tax return you can file, Bharati bill you can make, financial transaction transfers, everything, like you can get like many financial services like banking, insurance, pension. So it is like basically it is provided like to make some like to empower the villages, okay, it is done, okay. So basically this is like service kind of things are there, like it's kind of emitter only, but like the functions are so much larger there, right? You can like mobile recharge card, everything is there. So this is something called common service centers. It is generally in open in the rural areas only, right? So like from where this concept came, so this is something, this concept actually came into picture in 2006 only, whereby national e-governance plan was there. It constituted three pillars basically. The two pillars were connectivity and national data bank. The third one was common service centers. So it is like, suppose if like there is a village called Manpuri, right? So like the villagers can take advantage. They don't need to go like to cities for this kind of basic things. So they just can take benefit out of it. So that is something. It is basically PNID network, as I already told you. So this is something you can remember. Moving forward, some Portan Abhiyan. This is Abhiyan actually by the Niti Aayog only. It's a 3-month campaign. Okay, it is with respect to aspirational districts, okay, and aspirational blocks. So what it aims to do actually, it aims to do ki the 6 key indicators, okay, in both aspirational district and aspirational block has to be achieved. So that is something the campaign is all about. So you can just remember Sampurtan Abhiyan is like, there might be question like, it's like why in the news. You just need to remember it's the Niti Aayog's campaign, 3-month campaign for the saturation of 6 key indicators in aspirational districts and aspirational blocks. Basically, as you know, this program is basically like this kind of districts are under the aspirational district program only. Okay, so this is something you can remember. So firstly, you need to know what are those aspirational districts. Basically, aspirational districts are those districts which are the most backward district of the country. Okay, so you need to remember this thing. So what kind of indicators, like how many indicators are there? Like soil health cards will be there. Like schools with personal electricity will be there, like examined and monitored. Percentage of children fully immunized. These kind of indicators are included in this list. That's not about used. Further, it also talks about the percentage of like self-help groups, self-help groups that have like proper funding procedure. Okay, so that is something. You can now remember like what is the difference between aspirational district and aspirational blocks. Okay, so this program, aspirational district program, was launched by Niti Aayog in 2018, while this block aspirational block system was like launched in 2023 only by Niti Aayog. So this coverage of 112 district, while it talks about 100 and like sorry 500 blocks. Okay, so you can remember like these are the common focus points, like where health, education, nutrition, agriculture, and everything, right? But there are some different points as well, like financial inclusion and school development with respect to aspirational district program, while social development talks about with respect to aspirational block program. Here is 81 indicators. Here is 40 indicators. Okay, of development. And in the like there are some error with respect to typing. Like in the last like month magazine, there it said ki new capital on the like no capital of Telangana is Amravati, but the right news, as I already told there also, ki like it's the Amravati is capital of, is going to be capital of Andhra Pradesh only. Next, moving forward to the international relations, the first topic is instability in India's neighborhood. So basically, what is happening? As you know, like the why is the news, because like the Sheikh Hasina, like she was told to leave the country as soon as possible, and there was some military rule for a while, and now the interim government has been constituted under the leadership of Nobel literate and Muhammad Yunus. Okay, so that is something you can remember. So basically, what we have done actually with respect to Bangladesh, we have given since 2016 $8 billion credit of for the development of roads, rail, shipping, and other projects in Bangladesh. We have like threats to Akora Akarkala rail link, which was recently announced by both the party during like Sheikh Hasina's official visit to India. Another project called Kulna Mongla Port Line, that is also in the threat right now. So we don't know the future of the relations between India and Bangladesh. So that is a very big concern for the India right now. So our neighborhood is facing a seriously instability, like as we know, like military coup is there in Myanmar since 2021. Afghanistan has been taken over by the Taliban in 2021. Sri Lanka faced so much serious economic crisis. Maldives, we have seen like there was some India out campaign was there, right? So by the opposition party, and now that party under the leadership of President Murmu, like Muizu, okay, that is under the like in the ruling, right? So also, as we already discussed with respect to like KP Sharma Oli, he has been like appointed the Prime Minister like 4th time. So that is we discussed since 2008, like there was instability in Nepal because there have been 14 governments till now from 2008. So there is a lot of you can say instability in the region. Further, since the Myanmar like facing this military coup, like 32,000 ethnic Chin have sought refuge in India's Mizoram state. That is very big concern for India's internal security as well as economic and social resources. Further, we can have a like 5 years approach where we will going to understand like how we can make our like some efforts to make our neighborhood safe and stable. So first, as is Samman, respect. Second is Samvad, it's dialogue. Third is Sahyog, it's about cooperation. Fourth is Santi, that is peace. Fifth is Samriddhi, that is prosperity, right? So we have seen basically India's like there was Maldives, in Maldives there was India out campaign. So the things have like people's sentiment has been against India, like in Maldives. That is not a favorable thing for us, but through the process of like cooperation, we can we can assist the neighbors like during their tough times and gain their respect further, like right again. Further, India's like trade with the South Asia is very less because it's only about its total like 5% of its total trade, while with Europe we have 60% of our trade. So that is the big concern. We need to resolve it as simple as that. Next topic comes about, once again. Next topic is about international humanitarian law. Okay, let's talk about 75th anniversary of Geneva Conventions of 1949. So as we already discussed in our previous previous lectures, like whenever there is round figure kind of year, then that particular event becomes very important from UPSC exam perspective. So this Geneva Convention has been a cornerstone for international humanitarian law. Okay, so we have to understand firstly what is the difference between international human rights laws and international humanitarian laws. Okay, so this need to be understood. Basically, international human laws applies exclusively in armed conflict. Like if there is a war between two countries, in recent times there is a war basically with respect to Ukraine and Russia and Israel and Hamas. So this law, international humanitarian law, will apply to those states, those areas only, not to the all the other like countries, other countries of the planet, or especially the countries of the UN, members of the UN, right? Further, international humanitarian law applies both in peaceful time and conflict. So that is something you can remember just. Further, international humanitarian law binds all the parties who are part of armed conflict, right? Whether it's state or non-state actor. While international humanitarian law talks only about state and a person, the relationship between the state and person. Okay, so that is something you just remember. So basically, the Geneva Conventions are very important. Basically, so because these are treaties, this talks about the treatment of civilians, prisoners of war, soldiers who are like has been like captured or something called attacked by other enemy country. So that is something like they talks about those rights, the rights of those people who are so much helpless basically during armed conflict. So you can just remember. Further, international humanitarian law, that is also known as law of war or law of armed conflict. Okay, this protects, as I said, the civilians who are no longer participating in hostilities, or they are basically common civilians. They are not army persons or defense personnel. There are 4 Geneva Conventions, like of 1949, Geneva Convention 1, 2, 3, 1, 4th. Okay, so this convention has been like universally ratified by all the nations in the world. So this is something. Whenever there is cases of declared war, armed conflict between the nations, it applies to those areas. Okay, as simple as that. These treaties, for those treaties are there. A convention about the protection of cultural property, like if there is any heritage like property or something. So the taking state is like the countries basically is supposed to protect those not protect those cultural property. Okay. Further, biologically weapons convention is there. Chemical Weapons Convention is there. Rome Statute on International Criminal Court. These are the 4 conventions you need to remember. Just key, like this international humanitarian law, like contains like these 4 conventions are the part of that particular thing, right? Trade Convention, Biological Conventions, Biological Chemical Weapons Convention, and Rome Institute, State Institute for International Criminal Court. So you just can remember this thing. Moving further, what are those principles which are very important with respect to international maritime law? Under like under comes like first principle comes principle of distinction. So what is required basically whenever there is a war between 2 countries, the military is required, military from both the sides is required to make a distinction between the civilians objects and the military objects. Okay, so that is something the personals who fight, they are known as combats. So there is a need to basically make a difference between the not to take the civilians and civilian property. Okay, further, the principle of proportionality. Basically, the parties which are like involved in the armed conflict, they are supposed you do not harm that much as like the other countries, like you can just proportionally can harm, not improportionally. Like if someone has like just attack and you just like have your use your nuclear weapon, so that is something is not permitted here. Basically it's not as per like okay. Next principle is principle of precaution. So basically hereby the parties which are the like involved in the armed conflict, they are required to take consent and care to spare the civilian population, civilian objects, and civilian property. Okay, so this is something. What are the challenges is being faced? Okay, you can just obviously there will be challenges like state interest, humanitarian. There is always dilemma. Like which should be given more like importance, right? So these are the something. Further, whenever there is like accusation of war crimes, right? So what happens? There is as we know, United Nations Security Council is there, whereby the 5 countries, P5 countries have the like have veto power, so they can just use if there any country of their interest is being persecuted, in that case. So they just can use their veto power. Like if suppose Israel is accused of war crimes, then USA, the friendly country of that nation, might use veto power. That is something is very relevant here. Further, India like has made some phenomenal efforts with respect to international humanitarian law. Our Article 51 says that is part of DPSP. Like it basically directs our state to promote international peace and security, right? So that is something at international level. We have like participated in UN peacekeeping missions, and India is like one of the largest contributors to United Nations peacekeeping missions. So that is something very impressive. Further, there is concept of gifts of commitment. It's a formal humanitarian commitment that armed non-state sign to formally express their agreement to abide by the humanitarian norms. Like suppose, as in the case, Hamas is basically a non-state actor, right? It's not a state actor, right? So what this kind of like organizations, what does they sign basically this kind of agreements like deeds of commitment, whereby they express ki we are not going to harm civilian population. So that is something they do. Next is in the news basically Shanghai SCO, that is Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Basically there was like 24th summit of Council of Heads of State, okay, in Astana, that is the capital of Kazakhstan, and that like there was a declaration called Astana Declaration was signed there, and it is a very special summit. It was very special because for the first time the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has attended the meeting. So that is something very, and a major outcome came from this meeting only because the Belarus, the exclusive European country, has first exclusive European country has become the member of SU, and it is the 10th member of the SU. So basically Russia is already member, right? Russia is a founding member of SU, right? But it is a Eurasian country, like it's not completely like within the Europe only, right? It's like spanning in both US and Europe and Asia continent. So that's a Eurasian country, while Belarus is complete in the exclusive in the European continent. So like as I already told you, first European country, the benefit is this, like it's not just a regional, the SU is not just a regional form. Like it's a like global. It has some global significance. Like there are some concerns as well. That is like China is using like this form for its own gains, right? And Belarus inclusion might like trigger like says ki its international credibility might into danger basically, because Belarus is a very heavily censored autocracy. So you need to understand that is something, and it is actually has supported like in openly supported Russia, right? Okay, in Russia Ukraine war. So and static like portion you need to understand from here is this, the headquarters of SU is in Beijing only, that in China. Actually, like when 2001 when the SU was founded, only very few countries, like 5 to 6 countries were there, which are the members. Like you need to remember the four Central Asian nations plus China and Russia. These are the like 6 members during foundation of SU. So Turkmenistan, you remember like there are 5 Central Asian countries. Firstly is Kazakhstan, second is Uzbekistan, third is Tajikistan, fourth is Kyrgyzstan, fifth is Turkmenistan. So you need to remember Turkmenistan is not a member of SU. You just remember, okay? And other 4 countries of Central Asia are the part of this organization. Currently, there are like basically 10 members are there. So you just remember China, Russia. These are the 2 founding, along with Central Asian 4 Central Asian nations. So these are the 6. And first, then Iran, Belarus. These are the new members, and China and India. These are the total 10 members, okay? And there are 30 observer states and 6 dialogue partners who want to become the further members of this organization. And okay, and like we talk about structure, like how this like summit this organization is like working. Basically, it says like major 3 bodies. Like first is Council of Head of State, that is apex, like supreme decision making body, where the head of states, meet. Then is Council of Heads of Government, second highest decision making body, and other third like body is this, like 2 permanent bodies are there. First is Secretariat in Beijing, China, or second is Regional Anti-Terrorist Structure in Task in Uzbekistan. So these are the 2 permanent bodies that are. So you need to remember if there is a like mention of the Regional Anti-Terrorist Structure, RATS, that is in the Trans Uzbekistan. So you need to remember it is about SU only. Okay. Like what is those goals that is it's as part to fulfill? That is firstly is resolving border issues, second is military cooperation and intelligence sharing, thirdly is countering terrorism. These are the something. And exercise Pushful mission of 2021 that was hosted by the Russia is the exercise that is the example of military cooperation and intelligence sharing. That is something. Moving forward, there is something the role that is being played by SU. Basically, it is challenging Western like dominated kind of structure where they follow hypocrisy, especially the USA. So even the Turkey, which is currently a NATO member, right? So it's a dialogue partner aspires to become a full member. So that is the significance of SU, right? So it's basically challenges the Western hypocritic, structure. So that is something. Further, it is very helpful in our Central Asia's connectivity catalyst. Like it will work as a catalyst for Central Asia's countries connectivity. Like we have international north-south, transport corridor. We have Chabar project in Iran, right? So this for the India's perspective is very important. This SU organization. Then there are some challenges which we are facing as India, as a country. China's multilateral power play, like China basically fulfills many purposes with the help of this organization only. Like it's Belt and Road Initiative gains business prominence with the help of this organization only. It also uses like for debt trap, So that is something. It's actually using its soft diplomacy through this process only. So that is something we need to be aware and need to take appropriate steps, right? In 2017, only India has joined the SU with full membership status. So you guys remember in 2001, like when the SU was founded, there were only 6 members, 4 Central Asian nations and China and Russia. Then there is an initiative by our Prime Minister, that is Secure Ratio. Secure like full form is like security, economic cooperation, connectivity, unity, respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity, and environmental protection. So that is the full form. So whenever there is secure initiative, you just remember it is about SEO only. India's vision with respect to SEO. Next, moving forward to next topic, that is about India-France relations. As we all be knowing, our Prime Minister has officially visited Russia recently. Okay, so and he attended India-Russia annual summit. Okay, so that is something that's why it's in the news only. And he was awarded by the like Russia's highest civilian award, that is called Order of Saint Andrew Apost. So that is something he was awarded with. So what were those key outcomes of our like the visit of our Prime Minister? That is, firstly, in the trade and economic sector, we had like a target of like $100 billion, like $100 billion, like our current trade between Russia and India is basically $65 billion. Okay, the volume of trade is basically 65 billion trade, $65 billion. But our aspiration is this to get to make this trade $100 billion by 2023, and using national currencies like ruble and rupee. So these are our targets, right? And we want to just like free from this the dominance of dollar dominated world. Okay, so that is something the common vision we share with Russia. In the military field, we have agreed for joint manufacturing of some spare parts, okay, of like some like defense equipments and okay, some like this kind of things. Okay, and if we talk about the historical background, like with respect to India-Russia relations, there were some milestones in India's India-Russia relations. So the first milestone came into picture in 1962. This actually we have like having war with China only. During this time, we like Soviet Union said like this time like Russia was a USSR country. So Soviet Union said like we are going to transfer the technology, and we were going to co-produce like MiG-21, like which is also be it is one of the our achievements, like with respect to it is very like great combat aircraft. So that is something, and this is something you need to remember. During Indira Gandhi government, we signed the Treaty of Peace, Friendship and Cooperation with Russia, and with the help of this only, like during the war with Pakistan for the liberation of Bangladesh. Okay, so when Russia has pressurized us, okay, we are going to attack on you. Then Russia has sent its submarines to Indian region, like Indian Ocean region. Okay, so that is something, there was pressure, and Russia, like USA was apprehensive about like Russia's involvement if like USA directly attacks on India. So like it was fearful like Russia will going to attack because we have signed this treaty of peace and friendship and cooperation. So this treaty was very helpful. Like it's bringing so much fruitful outcomes to us. So we are very grateful for that. Further, in 1975, we have India launched its first Aryabhat like satellite, whereby we have used like the launch vehicle of Russia only, that is Soyuz. Okay, and we have in 1988 we have like both the countries have signed like Kundukulam nuclear power plant agreement. Okay, then we have like 1993 we have signed the Treaty of Friendship and Cooperation once again, and basically so in 2010 basically we have elevated our partnership to the special and privileged strategic partnership. So this is the current level, okay, of our partnership. And in 2021, for the first time, India and France, like India and Russia, 2+2 dialogue was initiated. Okay, whereby the defense minister and foreign minister of both the countries meet. Okay, that is something you can remember. Further, like what are those significance for like we have like our relationship with Russia is a win-win situation for both the countries. Okay, so we have basically recently like started producing like joint production of BrahMos cruise missile, AK-203 assault rifles. So that is something, and we got some orders from Philippines and South Asian nations for the procurement of BrahMos missile. Okay, and even Russia has qualified. You can just export these missiles to these countries. Okay, now moving forward. 1 second. Yeah. So if I talk about Russia, India connected projects, like we have like some. This is the international north-south transport corridor, whereby like we from China, like we from Mumbai to Chabar port of Iran, then we will going to the like Caspian Sea, then near to the Azerbaijan capital. Thereby we will enter the Russian Petersburg, Saint Petersburg. Okay, okay. So this is Saint Petersburg basically, and from here we will going to this region. Okay, so this basically this is Suez Canal, like as you all knowing, right? So this is basically proper connectivity project we are having. And one more, like maritime connectivity, we are talking Vladivostok from and to Chennai. This is something we are having some projects, right? Okay, now like we need to understand like why Indo-Russia relations is a win-win situation for both the countries. Firstly, from the Russia's perspective, India is like fourth largest trading partner. Okay, as I already told you, we have $65 billion like trade. Okay, we are having currently, and we aspire to have like to reach 100 billion target. Okay, so that is something we are thinking right now. So this is yeah. From India's perspective, why it is important? Because Russia has always maintained its position of neutrality with respect to India-China relations. It has not favored any country, like among these two. And we have like Russia supports India's permanent membership in United Nations Security Council (UNSC), and USA is like Russia is like our India's like top military suppliers, with 36% of defense imports comes from Russia only. And this S-48 defense system is also being imported from Russia only, and it has provided. And Russia has like even like the USA had some like objection with respect to this. Okay, and we have like some connected projects like international north-south transport corridor, along with northern sea routes, and Chennai Vladivostok Eastern Maritime Corridor. So that is something we are looking forward. And recently, Russia became India's top crude oil supplies because it offers like crude oil to India on discounted prices. So it's a very good thing. As we already discussed, we have like Kundukulam nuclear power plant. Okay, basically where we produce 2,000 megawatt of capacity of energy. Okay, and in the Gagan mission also, the Russia is also participating. So that is something we have to understand. Okay. Moving forward, we participate in military cooperation as well through Indra exercise. Okay, so you just name like Indra, India and RML Russia. Okay, you can just remember. Further, there are some challenges as well. It's not like we have so much like great thing. We have along with that we have some challenges, like India is supposed to incline toward Russia because it's joining to like some Western-led initiatives like Quad, right? And there is a big concern like the relationship between China and Russia is growing so rapidly. Like their like trade basically has reached to $240 billion. Okay, and they have like signed some treaty called the Friendship with Low Limits, something kind of that treaty where they have signed recently. So that is a very big concern for India. And further, India's trade deficit is rising continuously. Okay, so out of this much $65 billion trade, we basically like export only 4.3 billion, while around 60 billion is being exported by the Russia to India. So that is a very big concern for India. Even Russia's bank accounts, the bank accounts which is opened by Russian authorities in Indian Indian banks, they has been written with surplus Indian rupee. Okay, so we have also issues with respect to this. Okay, so that is something. Some more concerns are also like there, like recently the president of the president of Russia, the Mr. Putin, has also visited the North Korea, this autocratic country, the dictator country. Okay, they have even signed some treaty called comprehensive strategic partnership. Okay, further it also like recently, basically they have Vietnam and Russia celebrated 13th anniversary of 1994 basically treaty. Okay, so that is something like new developments are taking place. Okay, okay, further potential implications can be in the views like there might be changing reality in Northeast Asia. Northeast Asia basically two strategic triangles might take place, like on the one hand like USA, South Korea and Japan, on the other hand Russia, North Korea and China. These are the three dictator countries, basically autocratic countries, while these three countries are democratic countries: Russia, South Korea and Japan. Further, India has been a very since a very long time apprehensive about North Korea's proliferation, because it has even transferred some missile technology to Pakistan, our enemy country, our hostile country. So that is a very big challenge for us. So like this is something. Moving to the next topic, that is India United Kingdom's relations. Okay, so basically recently the Foreign Secretary of United Kingdom visited India. That's why it is in the news, right? So basically what we need to understand, basically firstly we need to understand the bilateral trade between India and UK. Okay, so current like the volume is trade, it actually at 36.3 dollar billion. Okay, that is something. So in the last like in a 1 year there was like 34% increase in the trade. That is something phenomenal growth we had between these two countries. Further, our level of current partnership is that is a comprehensive strategic partnership, right? And we have signed it, and now we are looking towards signing a free trade agreement. Okay, so that is we are looking forward. So yeah, there's talks are going on. Further, we have also in the defense sector we also signed defense international security partnership. Okay, in 2015. Okay, that you can just have an idea, look about it. Further, during COVID-19 we have like AstraZeneca and Serum Institute developed COVID-19 vaccine. So it was in collaboration basically. So yeah, currently like the Indian diaspora, the population of Indian diaspora in UK is 1.8% of total population, and which actually contributes to 6% of GDP. Okay, so that is a phenomenal contribution by Indian diaspora to the UK's GDP. And currently UK is the sixth largest investor in India, and like it is the basically second largest source for FDI in India. So this is something factual information was there. Further, UK also supports like India for its like bid for permanent seat in United Nations Security Council. That is something you can just have idea whenever there is question with respect to UK Indian relations. And UK India acting like they are acting as a net security provider. Why I'm saying this thing? Because there is a reason behind this in Indian Ocean region. Like there are a lot of bases, there are a lot of islands which are actually owned by UK only. Okay, so that's why India and UK are the two net security provider countries in Indo-Pacific region. Okay, and further, yeah, as I said, UK has actually like 7 permanent bases in the Indian Ocean region. So we are going to see the. Listen, this is something I was talking about. Okay, so this is the Indian Ocean region. Here is Chagos Archipelago. Okay, that is almost actually owned by almost all the islands are owned by UK only. Like in those archipelago, there is Solomon Islands, Nelson Island, then three brothers called Eagle Island, Danger, Egmont Islands, and Diego Garcia. Actually, there was a question in UPSC films in I think 2002 or something around that only. So it was asked like who owns like Diego Garcia Island, okay, and where it is located, by the way. So it is basically located in Indian Ocean region, and Paros Banhos, that is also a island that is owned by UK only. So just you can remember, okay, these names of islands. Okay, moving further, yeah. Okay, currently India's economy actually is larger than UK. Okay, as you know, knowing, right? So our is like fourth largest economy currently, fifth or what, right? So, but problem lies in this key now. UK's per capita income is so high with compared to India. Like India's per capita income is only $30,000. Okay, while UK's like per capita income is $50,000. So that is like day night difference is there, right? You can just see. So it's not about just CDT, but it's also about per capita income. So there is a very big gap between these two. India, obviously, like in 2000 like 22 or like something around, actually Brexit happened. Brexit means Britain actually exited from European Union. Okay, so That's why we have as I already told, the talks are going on to sign a free trade agreement between India and UK. So that is something. Other there is a term called dark shipping. Okay, right. So dark shipping means like the vessels who are like operating in basically the ocean region, uh, like with automatic identification system remains off. Okay, right. So this system actually ensures help to ensure it actually can help to track the ship, that's number, okay, to track the traffic. So what actually the terrorists and many people who want to avoid that kind of monitoring, okay, so they just keep this automatic identity system off. Okay, so that is something for in general illegal purpose, money laundering or terrorist activities only. And gray shipping means the like vessels which are related to the military only. Okay, these are called gray shipping. Moving further, colonial hangover. Yeah, as you were saying, our current government is like having colonial hangover. Like where is it's saying we will not like have a single sign of colonialism on us. Like they are changing the names, right? Our government is changing name, right? Of many places it's already did. So that is kind of thing is there. So what is like loss for us? As per the C. Raja Mohan, he's like very expert in international relations. He said anti-colonial posting events prevent the establishment of seizing the full range of possibilities with Britain. So this kind of thing, obviously, that they have done like great injustice with us, like as a colony, but we have to forget the past. We have to move on from that kind of mentality, and we have to cooperate for our for the welfare of the India only, right? For the welfare of the people of India. So we have to move on from. Okay, further, sometimes India, like in UK, even supports even UK registration of Kashmir in United Nations. That is something a very concerning thing in our relations. Moving further to the next topic, that is India Pacific Island nations. Okay. So what actually happened? India actually recently India actually offered help to Papua New Guinea. Okay, this is actually is an Indo like basically Pacific island. Okay, okay. So this is Pacific island nation. Okay, like it is located here only. So it actually faces so much harsh kind of disasters. That's why India offered help. So that's why it was in the news, right? And Papua New Guinea is the largest nation by landmass and population among Pacific Island nations, right? And Pacific Islands can be grouped in three groupings. Basically, Melanesia. This is the Melanesia, Micronesia, and Polynesia. So this Pacific island nations can be grouped in three groupings. So Melanesia, which contains like Solomon Islands, right? New Caledonia, right? These are the Papua New Guinea. These are the three famous islands you can call. In Micronesia, there are many more islands. Marshall Islands can be there. Goom Islands, Marian Islands are there. They are very famous. Then in the Polynesia groupings, Hawaii Island, that is the like USS state, okay, right? And then Cook Islands are famous, and Tuvalu is also very famous. Which actually transferring its capital, as we have seen in the last month current affair magazine. Okay, so moving towards to the next topic, that moving to the next. Yeah, why it is important for these islands, these specific islands, basically because of their location only, right? Because India Pacific region, as you all knowing, is becoming a great war game, right? And great war, like power really between USA and China. You have seen, right? So that is something. That's why the report has become so much. Even China has signed some agreements with Solomon Islands. So that is a very concerning thing for USA itself and for India as a whole, right? Further, uh, some of these Pacific Island nations have joined Indian International Solar Alliance, that is initiated by India and France in collaboration, and India's initiative, that is Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, right? Further, more than one third of Fiji's population are of Indian origin, right? There is Hindi literature. Even some people there are involved in writing Hindi literature. Okay, so there are some writers and poets are there from Hindi only. So that is very proud thing for us. Then there is an organization called FIPSC. It was actually founded in like 1 second. Yeah. But actually, I was telling you, yeah. Actually, had China has signed a security pact with Solomon Islands. Okay, in 2022 only, right? So that is a very concerning thing for India, right? Now, if we talk about 1 second, this called Forum for India Pacific Island Cooperation Partnership. That are actually we are going to discuss Forum for India Pacific Island Cooperation Partnership. Okay, so Forum for India Pacific Island Cooperation. Okay, that is forum. Basically, it was actually founded in 2014. Multinational grouping of Pacific Islands cities, like between India and 14 Pacific Island nations. and it is actually extended part of India's like broader Act East policy. Earlier it was Look East policy, but Narendra Modi government actually like changed to it, converted from Look East to Act East. Okay, you knowing like in the prominent members are like Cook Islands, Fiji, that is 1/3 population of like Indians origin are there. Solomon Island that has signed. It is a very in the news. Okay, you just need to have a like need to remember the location of this island. This Solomon Island is located in Melanesia grouping of island. Okay, you just need to remember it's located northeast of Australia continent. Okay, then Papua New Guinea is belonging. That's why even India has extended its help. Right. Moving further to the next topic, that is Western Indian Ocean. Why it is important? Basically, because it is now emerging as a key area where India-US Indo-Pacific cooperation is emerging, right? So first we need to understand what it is mean by Western Indian Ocean region. So it contains basically the western part of the Australia, western part of Africa, along with some island countries like Seychelles, Mauritius, Reunion Island. This Reunion Island is owned by France only. Okay, you just need to remember this is owned by France. This is actually Mozambique Channel only, right? This is Madagascar island nation, basically island nation, right? Then there is Somalia, right? Kenya, there is Tanzania, then is Mozambique. Okay, here is Lake Victoria. Okay, you just can remember Lake Victoria is between Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania only, right? So this is a very famous lake. UPSC has many times asked about it. Okay, moving further, what we need to understand, as I told you, this is a Mozambique channel, right? Between Madagascar and Mozambique. Okay, so Mozambique channel carries around 30% of global oil trade. So that is a very significant, trade route, right? You can say. Moving, like next thing is this, like India and other countries like Western Ocean region, Western Indian, like Western Indian Ocean region, the countries from Western Indian Ocean are cooperating through a platform called Information Fusion Center India Ocean region. So this is a platform you need to remember. Information Fusion Center Indian Ocean region. This is a form IFCIOR. So whenever there is a question with respect to this only, you need to remember it is between the India and Western Indian Ocean region countries only. That's why like this is the protocol through which they actually share the information. Okay, real time information. That is something you need to understand. You need to remember as well. Then India has a military base in Madagascar. Okay, and working closely with Mauritius to set up a military base is Aglega Island. Okay, which are critical for neutralize growing Chinese advances in Western Indian Ocean region. By the way, as you know, the sting of pulse, the threat for India is a sting of pulse, right? So uh, China is basically putting pressure by like surrounding India by like by establishing bases all around the Indian like Indian continent, right? So Indian subcontinent, that is something the threat we are facing, right? Moving further, yeah, as you knowing, like there is news everywhere, news like and the Somalia coast, there the pirate rates are currently rising because of the poverty they are facing, like the food security, they are like threat they are like. So this is completely like makes sense, right? Moving further, India and China, like basically USA has a USA has a military base in Daegu, that is island owned by UK only, and China has a military base in Djibouti. So there is something like important. That's why India is aspiring to establish a new base, right? So that's why yeah, we are uh, like there are like initiative called growth security growth for all in the region Sagar initiative, which we call. India is related to COVID-19 related associated to Western Indian Ocean region countries. That's why we have earned so much credit and respect from them only. Moving towards the short news, the other thing which is of our importance, that is not of importance as such. Okay, so what we can just remember, yeah, India Afghanistan, India Afghanistan post Taliban takeover. Okay, as we know in 2021, Taliban has taken over our Afghanistan only, but India hasn't recognized officially Taliban. But still, apart from that, we have actually offered like for the people of Afghanistan, we have offered humanitarian aid as well. We have in the education field, we are like working through providing scholarship to the Afghan students, like in through Indian Council for Cultural Relations, right, for Afghan students, as I told you. We are like trying to reach to Afghanistan through Chabad port only, that is located in Iran, right? That is something you just can remember. Then another news comes in, that is Colombo Security Conclave. So there are like two views: Colombo Process and Colombo Security Conclave. Okay, so basically, Colombo Security Conclave is about maritime security. It talks basically maritime research and rescue practice in Indian Ocean region. The countries are like members countries are like India, Sri Lanka, Maldives, and later joined Mauritius. Okay, so currently Bangladesh, recently Bangladesh has also joined as the fifth country. Okay, so security conclave is India, like Sri Lanka, these two neighboring country, Maldives and Mauritius, ISMM and D. These are the countries which are the part of basically Indian Colombo Security Conclave. Colombo process is about, you need to understand the basic difference. Colombo process is not about like maritime security in Indian Ocean region, by the way. It's about management of overseas employment and contractual labor. Okay, so it's about overseas employment and contractual labor. Where are 12 member states are there of Asia only, like Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, etc. India is founding member. So you just can remember about this. So this is, you need to understand the difference between Colombo Security Conclave and Colombo process. Moving forward, further, there is a like Marcos are in very English because recently Bolivia, a Latin country, has joined like full member as a full member of Marco SAR. Firstly, we need to understand need the map. Okay, this is basically the countries which are the members of Marco SAR: Brazil, Argentina, Paraguay, Uruguay, Bolivia recently joined, and Venezuela, the country which is was facing a lot of sanctions from USA only. Right. Further, it is actually southern common market. Okay, we will in the comes time we will understand it's a kind of economic partnership. One second, let me show you. Yeah, this is something I was talking about. Okay, so what happens? This is called preferential trade agreement. This is called free trade agreement. Free trade agreement. This is called comprehensive economic cooperation agreement. This is called custom union. This is called common market and economic market. European Union is an example of economic market. Okay, so what we need to understand is this: key here, like a list is maintained. PTS means like there is a list will maintain ki we will not like apply tariffs on this on the items which are included in this list. Okay, this is called a positive list. Okay, further, basically what we call free trade agreements, under which what happens actually we maintain a list. Okay, through which we ensure we will apply tariffs to only those items. Apart from those like like items, we will not apply tariffs to those. Okay, so that is something we need to understand. Yeah. So in the free trade agreement, what happens? Like we maintain a list. Oh, apart from that list, the item included in the list, we doesn't apply much, tariffs. Okay, in cross-border transaction between two countries. In SEPA, that is SECA and SEPA, that is comprehensive economic cooperation agreement. Okay, under which we ensure like we also respect their IPR, rights, intellectual property rights. We also encourage investment opportunities. Right. We also generally countries sign mutual recognition agreement. Under which what happens? Like students who have done any kind of degree, they is actually recognized in other any other country. Okay, as simple as that. Right. So suppose any student from India has, if India has signed any free trade agreement with any country, right? Actually, we have like free agreement with 20 to 29 countries currently. So in that case, what happens? Actually, if we have signed mutual recognition agreement, under which what happens? Suppose any MBA student from India has completed MBA, so that MBA degree will be recognized in the country with which India has a free trade agreement. Okay, if you sign this mutual recognition agreement, then comes custom union. Okay, custom union is something. It's like here the countries, between the countries, actually remove all the traffics. Okay, and they have like common common external trade relations with the any other country. Suppose if India and UK signed a custom union, okay, that kind of agreement they have signed, then they will apply zero tariff to all the products. Okay, further, if they have to like make maintain a external relation with USA, then the the rate of the like tariffs will be the same for both the countries. Okay, so that is something of moving toward the common market. There is something where common policies to deal with non-members is also being applied. Along with that, moving resources among these two countries is actually kind of free thing. Okay, so common market is example of Mercosur is common example. like tariffs is zero. Policies, common policies they are actually adapting to the non-member countries. Okay, and actually the resources among the countries can move freely, right, without tariff, and service and goods can move, right. So that is something. Further, like in economic market, they actually set one economic policy and one currency. Like, okay, so you have saying euro. Euro means the currency for European Union. Okay, so that is something you need to understand. So Mercosur is actually a common market. So they have set a common economic. They have like common policies to deal with non-member countries, and whereby they can move resources. Okay, freely. Like, okay, that is something you can remember. Venezuela actually has been suspended since December 1, 2016 because of like there are heavy sanctions on the Venezuela. As I told, free movement of goods, services, capital, and people among these four countries is ensured. India has a preferential trade agreement with Mercosur. So you just can remember the name of countries: Brazil, Argentina, Paraguay, Uruguay, Bolivia, and Venezuela. These are 6 countries. Moving to the next topic, that is role of education research in rise of global powers. Actually, currently China ranks first, in all generative AI patents with 70.3%. Okay, like share, while India's rank is that is 2.5%. Okay, so that is something like really for India, right? As far as the R&D is concerned, with respect to the generative AI, generative artificial intelligence, like ChatGPT or that kind of things. Currently, India spends like 0.65% of its GDP on R&D, while most developed countries spend 2%, their GDP on R&D. Oh yeah, this is the example which I'm actually talking about, right? Reduction of tariffs between members in the free trade agreement. Okay, right. Then in the custom union, they have common action tariffs with the countries. Then common market, they have like free movement of capital, services, and people, right. Then economic union, when the no borders for the internal trade, free movement of labor, harmonized tax rates, common monetary and fiscally single currency. You can so European Union is an example of economic union, and political union is about common government. That is the highest level of cooperation, or right, or integration, you can say. Then, yeah, as you're saying, in editorials talk about like why India is lagging behind, in R&D sector. That is, here in India, the share of private sector is only 36%. Okay, of total national R&D expenditure, while in most developed countries it's more than 50%. So that is something. Also, we have like lack of skilled researchers because of like we have number of researchers per million population is 262 only as per 2022 data. So that is something we need to look forward. Further, low quality of research with limited translation into application by industry. This is leads to high brain drain. You have seen now, like many like very very intellectual people like moving to the other countries, like leaving India, getting citizenship in other countries because of the reason now, because they have like that kind of talent, but they can't apply like because of the infrastructure is not so healthy, the policies are not so much conducive for such kind of smooth application. So that's why they have living country India, right. Then there is called dispute, China Tibet dispute. It's about like actually US Congress passed a resolution called promoting a resolution to the China Tibet dispute. Okay, so it talks about this kind of dispute should be resolved in accordance with international law. Okay, that is something by peaceful means. Actually, it supports the life as a middle way. Middle way means Tibet would remain part of People's Republic of China, that is the mainland China, but Tibetans will be given full kind of autonomy, meaningful autonomy, not full, but yeah, meaningful autonomy will be given. Matlab, you can say this is the mainland China, this is the Tibet, so this is the Tibet region, right? Okay, so it's saying like this resolution saying like Tibet will be the part of integral part of basically People's Republic of China, but it will be given a meaningful economy. So that is something the Dalai Lama was also saying. What is India's like we will know about what's India's stand on this. Firstly, we need to understand Tibet-China dispute. Okay, actually, first military conflict between Tibet and China took place in 20th century, and Tibet declared its independent state nation in 2019, like 12, right? In 1915, Dalai Lama's representative signed a 17-point agreement, and that granted China sovereignty over Tibet for the first time, and that is the agreement upon which China is claiming, sovereignty over Tibet region. So that was Dalai Lama's, like, whatever you call fault or whatever. So that actually gave China the power to have hegemony over Tibet. Our India's stand is simply is very like in 1959 India granted asylum to Dalai Lama after like he made a uprising that couldn't succeed. Since 2003, Government of India recognized Tibet Autonomous Region as a part of People's Republic of China. That is a kind of middle path India is following. Then is the news comes from Jan Austi Kendra, inaugurated in Mauritius only. This is the first overseas such kind of center. Basically, Indian island lessons is talking about key. So, why Indian Ocean region is so important for India? That is, reason is behind this. 80% of India's actual trade and 90% of energy trade happens through this region only. India is a with US like UK. We are like net security provider. Along with that, India is there is a concerning report coming from IPCC. Okay, of 2021. It says Indian Ocean has warmed faster than any other ocean since 1950s. So that is a big concern reason with respect to India. Like with Indian Ocean region, basically, India initiative, as we told about India, like Information Fusion Center, Indian Ocean region, through which the cooperation is being maintained. Like information sharing is there, right, with respect to maritime security. Then humanitarian assistance, as all India gives, well, always, and the Mahasagar, initiative by Indian Navy and Sagar Doctrine, as we discussed earlier. Moving to the next part, that is economy part. Okay, so basically 1 second. Let's talk about first topic. It's about digital public infrastructure. Okay, first we need to understand what does it mean. Basically, it says it is a set of shared digital systems. It operates on the level of security and interoperability. Along that, it can be built upon open standards, specification to deliver and provides equitable access to public. That is a very fundamental, basically the future of the DPI. Okay, so suppose we have Aadhaar, right? That is example of DPI, right? We have UPI. That is example of, like, what UPSC says. It's actually shared digital system now only, right? People like sharing it now, like as simple as that. Further, it is secure, as we all been knowing, right? It's inoperable. It can be operated on multiple ground like levels. Further, it's actually provides and deliver equitable access. Like any person, like regardless of their economic background, can install UPI app in their mobile phone and can use, right? So that is called digital public infrastructure. Further, it is governed by applicable legal frameworks and enabling groups, not reporting investment. But what is not DPI? That is need to understand. Connectivity infrastructure, that is not the part of like DPI. Like the cables used for the internet, that are not the part of DPI. You just can remember about this. 5 major DPI categories within and across sectors. That is verifiable identity. Actually, that's not that much important for us. You just can skip as well. But yeah, you can just data sharing and credential, signature, cousin, whatever. But that's not much important for us. What is important for us? Like why India DPI is important for India? That is reason. Actually, with DPI, India achieved this in a less than decade financial inclusion levels that would have otherwise taken 5 decades. It says like with the help of DPI, the Trinity, as you knowing, right? Jandan Trinity, okay, right? So with the help of that only, India has achieved a phenomenal achievement in case of with regard to financial inclusion that otherwise would have taken 5 decades. That's a like very great achievement from India. The number of bank accounts has tripled. Like in 2015, it was like 147 million. Currently, it's about 508 million. So that is phenomenal great growth in the case of number of bank accounts owned by Indians. Out of this total accounts, 50%, 55% owned by women only. So that is a phenomenal, like growth in case of women empowerment as well. What is the progress that is India has made with respect to DPI? We have more than 5.7 lakh common service centers, as I already told discuss about common service centers. It's kind of method like where all kind of services are given at one place in rural areas. Like you can make password, you can make make related for services, financial services, documents you can make, you can get benefit out like of government schemes from here, you can apply. So it's kind of one kind of center where the rural population can get benefit out of with respect to DPI. Then we have with respect to mobile, currently 116.7 crore mobile subscribers are in India. Further, Oman app has been installed, has been actually it's launched by government India. It's a uniform one kind of app where you can get like most of services. Like it says now, 1984 services are there on Umang available. If you install the app now, Umang app in a mobile, so you can access all the almost all the government central government schemes and even some of state government schemes, right? So that is something. Further, as we talk about unified payment interface, right? That is payment system, online payment system, real-time payment system, that is we call it. So volume of UPI transaction in financial 2024, that was 13,000 crore rupees. Okay, crore, and value was 199 lakh crore rupees. So that is something phenomenal achievement we have achieved. Then 139.7 crore other crore cards has already been generated on the DigiLocker, where like you can save your documents online and you can access anywhere. So currently 29.6 crore users are on DigiLocker. Network infrastructure 6.8 lakh kilometer of optical fiber has been laid. So that is phenomenal. You can mention this, actually you can just mention this data, okay, in your answers, and you can get fetch more marks, right? As simple as that. So basically you can just use this data, you can take a screenshot out of it and you can use in answer writing. If it's about comes in even in Asia, in even like anywhere, like okay, so something you can use like as a part of India's achievements at global level. Further, one future lines it's talk about, it's actually about India's G20 presidency, which aim to build capacity, provide technical support, and adequate funding for implementing DPI in low and middle income countries, because India's model has been so much phenomenal, it gained so much phenomenal success. That's why India is helping for other countries to follow the same way. Then next topic comes, that is angel tax. Why it wasn't in the news? Because recently government of India in the budget announced that we are going to abolish angel tax for all classes of investors. Okay. So firstly we need to understand what is angel tax. So it is income tax that government imposes on funding raised by unlisted companies or startups if their valuation exceeds the company's fair market value. So it's a very technical. You will not able to understand. What I will help now. I will help to understand how, like simply. Suppose you have started a startup, okay, you have started, you are entrepreneur, you just started startup, okay. So because the startup at initially is not like listed now, right? It's unlisted company basically. So what is mean of listed? Listed means your shares are on national stock exchange, basically national stock exchange, Bombay stock exchange, this kind of BSE, NSE, right? So you can't raise funding directly from investors. What you will do, like you will convince some people to invest, you will tell about your idea, right? Okay, like what your company is going to do in future, so what's the vision. So on the way to convince like some people invest their money in this startup, these investors are called angel investors. It's a fariste hota na, to those who help at the like very basic level, right? They are called, while like they have, like you have just started a company, there is no such turnover or something data to 12, but they have just believed in your idea and they have invested in your company. That is called angel investors. And the angel tax is called the investment they are taking, like they are giving now on this rupee. How much tax is the tax? That is called angel tax. Earlier it was like around to 20%. So that was like a very big concern for growth of startups, okay. But yeah, now it has been abolished. Actual it has started like this angel tax was started in 2012 to curb money laundering only under income tax act 1961. Up now more for like what are those source of funding for the startups. So basically first source at the most like beginning level, it is the angel investor who invest in startups. Then there comes the venture capital or private equity. These are part of alternative investment funds. Like, let me make you understand what does it mean alternative investments. These are called conventional investments, like stocks. If you invest in stocks, bonds, and cash, okay, that is called basically conventional investment. Then these alternative investments are different, like it's called private equity, real estate, hedge funds, commodities, collectibles, structure, contribution. So these are three categories are there in alternative investment funds, AIF. Okay, first category is like where angel funds are there, venture capital funds are there, social venture funds, infrastructure funds, and special situation funds are there. Then category two comes where private equity funds and debt funds are there. Third, hedge funds, PPI, private investment in public equity funds. What actually private like alternative means? It's a very risky kind of job. Why it is so? Because big finance institutions, pension funds, high net worth investors, generally what they do, actually, you will see, basically it's a very tough to make. Suppose if you have invested through venture capital in the startup, okay, right? So what will happen? They will give you, they will give you the share, now, like the share of the startup, in return of your money you have invested in the startup. But you can't like directly, basically, if you suppose you want to withdraw from like withdraw your investment from here, so you just can't withdraw. Like how you will have to wait who will purchase this, like share from you, because it's not listed on like it's not listed company, right? So it's a very tough task whether like it will be liquefied or liquidate. To make liquid, it's a very tough thing. Further, what is the problem lies ki, you don't know like whether this startup will succeed or not. If it's fails, then your money will not going to come. Okay, so that is something very risky job is there. Liquidity risk, as I already told, in the listed companies you can just sell the shares at stock market, and people are just lying, coin for to purchase such kind of shares. So that is something you just because there is no platform and can't sell easily, you have to find that kind of person who want to purchase this kind of thing. So that is something you just can remember. Venture capitals is something I will give example once again. Suppose this is the startup, okay, startup A, and this is platform, okay, and this is there is the person A, B, C, like many people are there who want to invest in any company, okay, like any startup or whatever. So what they will do, they will give all their money, so like to this manager, okay, the manager of this institute. So what this manager will do, it will study all the documents, it will like understand like the growth of the startup, and accordingly, because they are experts in the fields, right? They are very much experts, managers are being appointed, that's only they're very much like like very studied, like they have so much knowledge about it, like how will a startup will grow. So accordingly they will invest, otherwise they will not invest. So it is kind of while angel investors, what they do, actually this platform is very initial stage, there is no turnover whatever the growth is, but the idea, the that field like make them convincing to invest. So they individually invest, while here collectively through the platform the investors invest, right? So that is called venture capital fund. Yeah, venture capitalist. Moving further, angel investor, as we already told, talked about it, right? Then there is come a term called reverse flipping. Actually, initially, let's talk about Indian companies which actually establish their strategic like suppose initially there was an Indian company, okay, which establishes headquarter in any other tax haven country. Okay, later is reverse like change its headquarter from that country to India only. That is called reverse flipping. Examples are PhonePe and Grow. This kind of companies are example. Why tax angel tax is abolished? Because it actually will promote reverse flipping of startups. That's why that was the reason. Moving further, data being, we have third largest startup ecosystem in the world. We have 1 lakh plus unicorn startups. 100 startups have achieved a status of unicorn. Unicorn means the turnover of a startup has reached $1 billion. Okay, you can see here. I will make you see. Yeah, this is the startup company value of company has reached $1 billion. Okay, moving further, let's talk about gig economy. Right. So recently, why like it is in the news, Karnataka government published draft platform based gig workers social security and welfare bill. Okay, that's why in the news only. The provisions of the bill are like, is this key, they will establish a welfare board. Okay, which will ensure the welfare of gig workers. Welfare, they will also going to establish welfare fund, which is welfare fee levied on transition workers. Okay. Next, uh, what they are going to do, they will ensure right, like for the gig workers, like in the terms of social security, occupational health and safety of workers. Other features include safeguards against unfair dismissal. You can't just with no ground you can't just dismiss. Two levels of grievance redressal mechanism. So that is something. And as you know, in 2023 only, Rajasthan is the only state to have legislation with respect to gig workers. So now Karnataka might become the second state in that line. If we talk about gig workers economy, as per the gig workers Niti Ayog, like Niti Ayog says, 1% of total workforce consists of gig workers only. The number of gig workers is 23.5 million. By will be going to by 2023. 30. Okay, so you just can remember this data if you want to use it in the answers. Why, like, what is the problem with the bill? Like, there are some issues with this bill. That is something, it doesn't address the issue of minimum wage or working hours. Okay, so that is something first. Second, it doesn't replace institutional security benefits like provident fund, GRIP. Like, okay, so that is something. Unlike code on security, that is COS, which defines and regulates both gig workers and platform based workers separately, bill regulates only subset of platform based gig workers. Gig workers is, as per the Code of Social Security 122, it generally means the person who performs work outside the conventional or traditional relationship of employer-employee relationship. So, what is the definition basically? So, as per the Code on Social Security 2022, a person who performs work outside of traditional employer-employee relationship. You just can write down this simple definition. Then there are two kind of gig workers. First is platform based, second is non-platform based. Platform based means online software or digital from like Zomato, this kind of Swiggy. While non-platform based like comes from conventional sectors like domestic workers, maid, those kind of things, those kind of people. Instead, like what step has been taken for the gig workers in India, that is Code of Social Security 2020, that talks about extension of social security benefit to gig workers as well. ESRM portal has been established, which is basically a national database of unorganized workers, including gig workers. Anyone can, can register himself or herself, even from unorganized or informal sector. Then Pradhan Mantri Surakshha Bima Yojana, which also caters the need, like even workers from unorganized sector, can just get benefit like out of this. Then moving further to next topic, that is transshipment port. Okay, India just welcomed this first cargo ship at Vinjim International Transit Deep Water Multipurpose Seaport that is located in the Kerala only. Vinjim is located in the Kerala. Basically, this transshipment port in Vinjim is owned by government of Kerala. It actually built and has been built under PPA model, where design, build, finance, operate, and transfer basis. It actually uses land loan model, whereby port authority will act as regulatory body, while the port operations, the day-to-day operations will be operated by the private company only. What does private transshipment means? Actually, transshipment means simply it's a very big kind of port. Okay, suppose a very like very big ship is coming, right? So what does this transshipment port will do? It will help to cargo to unload in its this unload its cargo to the smaller vessels, smaller ships. Okay, small ships, and basically through this cranes or those kind of things, the like this cargo will be the cargo from cargo ships will be unloaded and be loaded to the smaller ship. That is something the job of transit port. Okay, so it's like one ship to another ship, basically. Then small parts of cargo loaded on bigger ships, as I already told. Why Vizhinjam was selected for transshipment port? Because of its location, firstly. Because if you want to make no, sorry, if you want to make any transshipment port, you require natural depth that is around 2 meter, 20 meter around. Okay, and Vizhinjam actually have this 18 meter depth already. So that is something. Further, its location, because it's only away from like 10 nautical miles from international shipping route, right? Connecting Europe, Persian Gulf, and Far East. So that is something. Its location is so much important. Then India's 75% of transshipment port goods is handled by ports outside India, like among the Singapore, Malaysia. These are the major ports. Even Sri Lanka is also port. Okay, that actually handles a lot of cargo of India. It is turnaround. Firstly, we need to understand what is turnaround meaning. Turnaround means how much time it's take to to upload and unload like cargo from one ship to another. That is called turnaround thing. Plus if you want to repair some ship or something, so that is also contained in turnaround time. So currently in India, turnaround time is basically 4.3 days, while global median ship turnaround time was 1.04 days. So that is something like we are lacking, right? Insufficient natural depth. Why we are can't develop transshipment port? Because of reasons are like Mumbai, Chennai, Mangalore, do not have natural depth more than uh, 10 to 14 minutes. But while that is already shared, transshipment port requires 20-meter depth. Yeah, like there is a lot of competition for Colombo, Dubai, Singapore, Jubail Ali, and Port Kaleng. Then step has been taken by Government of India, like Maritime Amritkal Vision, whereby it aspires to increase depth to 18 to 23 meters to accommodate large vessels and improve handling capacities. That is something Government of India is doing. As we have seen in the last month's June month magazine as well, that is a new international container shipment terminal is being developed at Galicia Bay, that is in Great Nicobar Island. Okay, so that you just can remember. Moving to the next topic, that is India's structural transformation. Okay, recently what happened actually? Indian International Monetary Fund actually released a working paper titled "Advancing India's Structural Reforms" or something. That is not of our context. What we need to understand, like what kind of structural reforms already has been made and what more can be done, right? That is something we need to study. Basically, it's a completely main topic, by the way, for your kind of person I want to tell you. So, paper takes stock of India's growth and structural reforms, right? So, basically, as you all be knowing, like since like past few decades, we are having more than every 6% GDP growth every year since 2000. Okay, and currently India's unemployment rate is stands as 3.1%, right? Uh, so basically, if you talk about, one second, let me tell you how I was actually talking. So this is something the sectors of economy are performing in India. Like if you talk about agriculture sector, so agriculture contributes 16% to the GDP, while 45% peoples are employed in agriculture or primary sector. You can also. Then if you talk about industry sector, then it contributes around 30% to the GDP, while it employs around 25% of the people of the total workforce. You can also. And the tertiary sector, or we call it service sector, that contribute the most, that is 54%, while it actually employs 30%, okay, people in India. So that is you just need to remember. So where does the element lies? Like industry sector, you will see, like as much as it contributes, similarly accordingly it's actually it's employing the people, right? But in agriculture sector, you will see only 16% people are, like only 16% is contributed to the GDP, while it's employing 45%. So that is something we need to change from here. So we need to modernize agriculture sector, because currently agriculture like productivity is very less in India. So you just need to remember this thing. Further, in India we have facing like rural to urban migration, as you all be knowing. Moving further, then you will see what happened actually. Now the share of workforce in agriculture sector actually is reducing. Earlier it was around more than 60% in 1990s, while slowly and gradually the share of the basically the construction sector, you can also, or basically the this sector, this service sector is increasing, right, as we all be knowing, and manufacturing sector generally remains constant. So more fluctuations remains in agriculture sector and your service sector. Okay, so that is we need to understand. Moving further, what steps have already been taken, with respect to structural reforms. Like in 2017, government of India, like through the parliament, introduced GST tax, right, Personal Service Tax Council, for uniform indirect tax collection. Then we have introduced production linked incentive scheme to for furthering enhancing production in India, or like realizing Make in India program. Then we have also introduced insolvency and bankruptcy code to improve credit culture and resource allocation mechanism. Then we also wrote some labor reforms in the forms of 4 codes. Further, through UPI, we ensured financial inclusion. Then the construction sector in India has become like very important sector because it employs around 12% of total workers in India. So that is something phenomenal, thing is there. Then manufacturing and service sectors are 4.5% more productive than agriculture. That is something you can use in answers. That's why we are like facing such kind of issues. Then India's labor force will be still have fewer years of formal education. Then its peers and quality of education remains low as per I said. This is actually NGO. So you can use this kind of information in your men's also writing. Moving to the next topic, that is space economy. Recently, what happened when finance minister introduced budget that so she introduced the venture capital fund of rupees 1,000 crore will be set up to promote space economy in country. Okay, as we studied earlier, like in alternative investment fund, we studied about venture capital fund. Like it's all about, like if you have startup, right, then there will be a manager or an agency. Then these are the investors. Okay, suppose there are 5 investors, 6 investors. They will contact with this manager who will accordingly he's like very studied, he's like researcher or some kind of, he has so much idea to which startup will make growth, will make more profit for the investors. So accordingly it is like happens, like it's like mid kind of age it is invested, while angel invested at the very early age of the startup. So venture capital for start tech for the startups who are working in the space sector. And seed fund scheme already been launched by government of India. Basically, let's talk about it. Actually, kind of angel investor, right? When startups are not getting fund, at the beginning, at the starting level. So, government of India helps through this seed fund scheme. Okay, that is you just can remember, and it was launched by InSpace, that is Indian National Space Promotion Authorization Center. Then, why is like need for setting up some kind of venture capital fund? The reason being, we have very low availability of low cost capital, because if even somebody invests now, then startup owners have to compromise, the shareholders have to compromise because of lack of fund. They have to abide by the conditions imposed by investors. Then you can say India's share in global commercial space is currently stands at 2% only, right, while we are aspiring to get it 10% by 2030. Space sector is capital intensive domain, you must be knowing about it. Then India's import cost in space technology sector is 12 times higher than earnings from exports. So it is like very concerning thing for India. Then the competition is really increasing from the over the globe, like private companies like SpaceX, Blue Origin, this kind of companies giving a tough competition to the Indian startups. Then we talk about socio-economic benefits, like if any startup like able to find solution for like agriculture field, disaster management and communication, such kind of, then this would be promoted. Indian space sector is projected to increase around 48% of compound annual growth rate, okay, over next 5 years to reach $50 billion. So this is something as we knowing in as we studied in the private players are like very least as compared to the public like government participation, like ISRO is a government authority. So currently there are more than 200 startups that are actually privately owned, right? Recently, what happened in 2022, Vikram S, India's first privately built rocket, was launched under Mission Param. It was developed in Hyderabad-based Saikut aircraft. So you can just remember, like the Vikram S, that is India's first privately built rocket, okay, which was launched under Mission Param. That is information you need to remember. Further, IIT Madras actually incubated like its startup called Agnikul Cosmos, which will develop world's first rocket with a single piece 3D printed engine. So this kind of information might back in prelims as well. Then we have to talk about in space. Okay, that is autonomous agency under Department of Space. It actually talks about regulating, promoting. It actually does regulating, promoting, guiding, monitoring, and survey, supervising the space activities of non-government privately entity. Like it's talk about private sector. Okay, it actually regulates, monitors, supervise, help those. Then we have Antrix Corporation Limited. That is a commercial arm of ISRO. It is a wholly owned Government of India company. New Space India Limited, that is very important. These two entities are important in space, and NSIL, that is a Schedule A category company under Department of Science. It actually established was to handle the commercial activities of ISRO. Then that is not as much important for us. Recently, India launched its Indian space policy, whereby it's aspired to get more participation in space activities. Then it also allowed, it made some elections in the case of FDI. It's allowed 74% FDI, in satellite manufacturing and operation, while 49% FDI for launch vehicles, space ports, and associated systems, like kind of things. Then we have also launched Atal Innovation Mission, which actually talks about encourage students to find efficient innovation solution for specific real world challenges in the space sector. Right? Then that is not something we need to understand, but yeah, you just can remember these things. Then moving towards the next topic, that is sustainable development goals. Recently, this report came launched by UN Development of Economic and Social Affairs. So not that much important from prelims perspective. You just can remember the fact like only 17% of SDG goals are on the track to the target made. Okay, so just there is information is needed. We can remember about the conceptual aesthetic part of SDG, that is like where it comes into picture. For the first time in 1987, the Bhutto Convention mentioned about this SDGs. Okay, and then there were like Millennium Development Goals were signed in 2000. It was actually 2015. Then thereon from 2015 to 2030, we are having Sustainable Development Goal, that is SDG, right? Then yeah, in 2015, all countries is accepted adopted 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. It was actually adopted in Paris. Okay, Paris Agreement, its goal. Thereby, there are 17 goals and 169 targets. So to achieve by 2030. So there are 17 goals and 169 targets. In the thesis, you might be asked. In other exams also, you might be asked the number, but not in the UPSC. Then IPCC said that like 90% of the coral could be lost by 2050 if temperature goes by increasing by 1.5 degrees Celsius of warming, and up to 99% if temperature increase by 2 degrees Celsius. So that is something really serious concern is we are facing. Then India actually achieved so much nice great growth in the case of SDGs. Like we have reduced our metal mortality ratio to 79% per to like it was earlier 130. So we have reduced it to 97. So it was in 2012 and now 2014. Now it's 97 in 2018, 20. We have also ensured like more enrollment in education, higher second education by the student, that is 57 percent basically. Then through Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana we ensured like Pakka houses to the rural people. Then we have through Ajwala we have like ensured the subsidized gas cylinders. Then through Swachh Bharat we ensured sanitation programs. Then Ayushman Bharat we have ensured like the poor backward people get benefit for the health. Okay. Then we have through PM Mudra Yojana we ensured more credit structure to the people. Then moving to the next topic, that is e-mobility. It's about electrical mobility. Okay, it's about electric sector. What we need to understand, the factual information you can just remember that less than 1% of total vehicle sales is contributed by EV only. So that is something we are making progress here. Transport sector accounts 18% total energy consumption in India. So that is something a very serious concern. Not serious concern, but yeah, we need to understand that what is the importance basically EV does have. If EV comes into picture now, if around 50% of the EVs are there now, so we can reduce this energy to a great level, like we can reduce the greenhouse gases emission. Then as per the NITI Aayog report 2020, there are around 2,000 charging stations currently in India. So we need to increase the capacity of the the charging we have to make to provide more facilitation. Then we have currently coal contributes about 50% of total electric generation in India. So that's the reason through which thermal power plants are being operatized, and they are actually major source of greenhouse emission. Then further, around 90% of used batteries are either processed by an unorganized industry or end up in landfills. Or that's something we need to understand. Like electrical waste, e-waste we call it, e-waste has like been increasing. That has been a very big lesson for India. Then we talk about lithium tangle, where like lithium is found so much in high quantity. That is Argentina, Bolivia, and Chile region. This is the lithium angle. This is Bolivia region. This is Argentina. This is Chile. This is Atacama Desert. Right, Ugumi. This is a site where lithium is found in large quantities. Polaroid is also as such a place where it is found. Then okay, moving to the next, that is recently government India has taken some initiative with respect to EVs. Like it's launched a scheme called Electrical Mobility Promotion Scheme 2024. It was launched by Ministry of Heavy Industries. Then PIL scheme has also been extended to electrical vehicles, right, and automobiles. Basically, we have also rationalized GST tax rate basically on electric vehicles from 12 to 15% now, and also on the charging stations we have reduced GST from 18% to 5%. Then also basically for the charging structure, who is responsible agency? That is basically Bureau of Energy Efficiency. Okay, it is a central nodal agency that is responsible for charging stations. Okay, moving to the next, if you talk about cobalt production, then Democratic Republic of Congo is leading the front. Then New Caledonia, then China is third. You just can remember 3 countries, right? So DRC, actually it was asked in 2024 prelims. That's why I just put this data before you. Moving further, it says EVs should be brought under priority sector lending. We have already studied in economy, like in the banking sector. There is a system called 40% lending you have to give to like some certain sectors, like who are backward, like agriculture, it could be MSME, it could be for the education purpose, for students or such kind of things. So similarly, suggestion says if EV gets qualified for priority sector lending, then more startups can be started. So that is something you can use in answers this kind of suggestions or way forward. Moving to the next topic, that is city gas distribution network. Okay, CGD. Okay. So basically, is network interconnected system or underground natural gas pipeline for supplying PNG, that is piped natural gas, that is used basically for cooking purpose, while compressed natural gas, that is CNG, used for automobile or the vehicles to fuel them. Basically, natural gas is relatively clean burning as compared to the fossil fuels, because fossil fuels emits more greenhouse gases as compared with natural gas, right? Because fossil fuels natural gas mainly comprise of CH4, that is methane, and with a small percentage of hydrocarbons. Then CNG is predominantly as a use auto fuel, as already told. PNG is a domestic and commercial industrial segment regulation. How the natural gas is being regulated, that is through this PNGRB Act. Okay, so then moving further, how it is like this city gas distribution sector works. Firstly, there is gas sourcing, then there will be gas transportation. Okay, then there will be pipelines through which it reaches to the end consumers. Okay, that is something. And Government of India plans to raise the share of natural gas in energy basket from 7% in present to 15% by 2030. So currently, you have to understand the share of natural gas in our energy basket, that is 7%. Okay. Then advanced technology has been used in this kind of city gas distribution system, that is SCADA technology, that monitors compressor data. Then GIS mapping, that is GIS mapping is something like this. Okay, like it is just real world, like it's actually sees then first in the layers only, like full view. Then like firstly it's your data, then your water bodies, then boundaries, then roads, buildings, and elevations, etc. These kind of things are there in GIS layers, right? That is, after smart meters are being used, intelligent pigging is assess the pipeline conditions. Then smart meter 5,000 smart meter has already been installed in Mumbai. Okay, so that is really. Then if you talk about the life cycle and the potential, greenhouse gases, then half life, okay, and green or global warming potential time horizon, right? So the half life of CO2 is very complex, right? But its potential is like one, right? Uh, in 20 years, even in 100 years. Then methane potential is like half life is 12.4 years. Its potential is 84. In 100 years, it's 28. You can just use like nitrous oxide NO2. That is, its lifetime is 121. Its global warming potential time horizon, that is in 264 in 20 years, 265 in 100 years. So you can just like pause and can use this data in global warming cases in the questions basically. Further, India actually has placed to net zero emissions by 2070, as you all be knowing in NDC, nationally determined contribution we have placed. Okay, like this is something you can just remember. Then currently 48% of liquefied natural gas is imported, so we are very import dependent country with respect to natural gas. Moving to the next topic, that is coal sector in India. Recently, what happened? Mr. Coal said the imported the share of imported coal has fallen from 13% to minus 2.29%. So that is really a good thing. If you talk about coal sector in India, then we are like second largest coal consumer of coal in world. We are second largest importer of coal, and around, as we studied above as well, that around 50% of total energy generation comes from through coal and lignite. So there has been many measures have been taken to achieve this. So this actually has led to decrease in imports like through enactment of coal mines special provisions. CPM Act 2058 actually permitted auction of coal mines for commercial mining by private entities. That's why there was more mining, and actually if our supply was more, then coal becomes cheaper for the companies to produce electricity. Then as you all know, we have MMDR Act. Recently it was amended in 2021, through which we ensured transparency and efficiency in allocation of mining licenses. Then through National Coal Index, like we ensured like there was combining of prices of coal from all sales channels. Okay, that is notified price, auction prices, import prices. Then we allowed 100% FDI in coal mining. Okay, so that is actually more global investment came into picture. Then we also adopted, we studied in like June month magazine, we studied about underground coal gasification concept. In that we also studied coal gasification, right? So there is like H2O and methane. There was kind of elements were there. These are the main products out of coal gasification, and major product was hydrogen. So that is something we can understand. Then what are those challenges which actually our coal sector is facing, right? Our coal sector is highly dependent because we have very low, like we have coal which have a very low calorific value. Why? And we actually produce we have the coal which is actually producing like high SN sulfur content, right? Then the main imports countries from we are exporting more, like it's Australia, Russia, and South Africa, and US. Iron and steel are major importers of coking coal. Coking coal is something which actually produces is around 28 to 42%. As percentage in the import coking coal is less than 10%. So that is something now, like our local coking coal is producing this much, around 30% is, while the imported coking coal is producing only 10%. Is that is something we have to import, right? You need to understand the Coal India Limited, that is actually contributing around 80% of country's indigenous coal production and supply. It's actually government-owned company. You just need to remember, it's the largest mining or something, right? Indigenous coal production and supply, like Chapning. Then this is what happened. Competition Commission of India in 2017 challenged the monopoly of Coal India Limited, while saying its actual subsidiaries are actually trying to dominate the market and actually bypassing or like illegally, unethically dominating the market and producing competition for the other companies. If you talk about total installed capacity, electric generation capacity in India, then you will see around 50% is electricity generated through the coal. Then the second largest become the solar power. Then we have hydropower, that is comes both large hydropower and small hydropowers. Then 6% is by basically wind only. Then natural gas we studied earlier also, it's around 6 to 7%. Then we have nuclear power, that is around contributes around 2%. Okay, so that is something that is data by power ministry only. Moving toward the next, next, that is way forward. What can be like efforts we can make to improve the conditions with respect to coal sector in India? We can promote Miyawaki plantation, right, where we can near the basically coal mines. So you guys just mention this kind of suggestions in your answer. Then encouraging private players. It's very simple. Coal gasification is a very viable option we have with us. If we talk about the coal reserves in India, so basically there are like many reasons, like this bituminous is like second highest quality coal. Then we have anthracite is highest quality gold, basically. Then lignite is medium quality, and the lowest kind of beach. Okay, so in basically we have like bituminous we found like in this Assam, Meghalaya region. Then is Chota Nagpur Plateau. Then some parts of like Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, and Chhattisgarh, right? So just again, this where bituminous is found. Then in Jammu Kashmir, we have a little bit kind of anthracite as well, but majorly we have like lignite, right? So in Jammu Kashmir or Ladakh region, then we have in Rajasthan, in western Gujarat, then in Tamil Nadu. So these are the major coal reserves we have in India. If we talk about coal static portion, that is it's actually sedimentary rock. You know, there are three kinds of rocks: primary rock, that's sediment rock, then metamorphic rock. It's like sedimentary rock. Then the anthracite is highest quality coal, that actually where the only in Jammu and Kashmir region we have anthracite coal. So that's why we have to import coal even after having sufficient reserves of coal. Then bituminous is medium quality of coal, which is most commonly used for electric generation in India. Generally, it's found as I told Chota Nagpur Plateau and Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh region. Then sub-bituminous region, not lignite, that is really important. Slowest grade coal actually found in Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, and Jammu Kashmir region. Top three states which have the highest share in coal reserve, that is Odisha, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh. Actually, these are the only tribal regions. As you know, here also remains the highest tribal population in India. So these are also the regions which actually having so much coal. Moving to the short news, if we talk about World Bank Group guarantee program. Okay, so what actually it aims to boost? It aims to boost actually issuance of $20 billion by 2030. It's actually giving this much guarantees, like not that kind of use, just can skip as well, not that kind of use as such. Moving to the next topic, that is SARC currency swap arrangement. Recently, the Reserve Bank of India announced we are going to have a SARC currency swap framework. Okay, so basically, what is this SARC currency swap system? We need to understand firstly. SARC. What are those SARC nations? This is the SARC nation. MBBS plan: Maldives, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Pak, Afghanistan, India, and Nepal. Right? Myanmar is not part of SARC countries. You can just remember. So SARC is MBBS plan. MBBS plan. So Maldives, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Afghanistan, India, Nepal. So these are SARC, Southeast Asian Association, okay, nations. So this is you can just remember. Then yeah, SARC central banks actually want to avail this kind of swap facility. Actually, what does it mean? Actually, suppose this is like SARC, okay, and here many countries are there. There is Pakistani Taka is there, then Sri Lankan rupee is there, like Bhutanese currency is there, Indian rupee is there. So what actually is this currency swap will do? Like whenever you will have trade, you can just swap your currency in this this through this platform. You don't need to get into have trade in dollar only. Actually, in the dollar That is for dollar purpose. There is Swift platform. You must be knowing about it. Actually, which actually currency international currency swapping framework. So actually, it is actually to counter Donald dominance, as I already told in the previous lectures as well. So this currency swap arrangement talks about two countries agree to exchange two currencies at the state rate. Like rate is fixed, okay. They exchanges those currencies that agreed upon fixed rate, okay. So this is something. In 2012, SAR countries agreed to have a currency swap mechanism for short-term forex liquidity जो भी क्या requirement. Then if you talk about G7 countries, you can just remember this: Nemoic UK ने Germany का JUS, then BIMSTEC, that is बांग्ला BIMSTEC बोलने नहीं, Bangladesh, India, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Thailand, Bhutan, and Nepal. So ASEAN, that is MBBS cricket, IPL, okay, MBBS cricket IPL on TV. So Malaysia, Burma, that is Myanmar, Brunei, Singapore, Cambodia, that is Laos, IPL, P for Philippines, I for Indonesia, T for Thailand, and V for Vietnam. SEO, as you already studied about SEO, not much needed. Through like how can you remember G20 countries 19 plus you Guruji Sita SSC में FCI. Singapore is not part of G20. You just need to remember it's a very major economy, so but still is not a part of G20. Moving to the next, that is yeah. So now this is something happening, and our like RBI has done like a separate Indian rupee swap window has been introduced, right? And RBI will continue to offer swap arrangements in euro, like dollar and euro. So this is something. Other significant things has been done like with respect to currency swap arrangement. That is BRICS contingent reserve agreement, India-Japan bilateral currency swap agreement. This is something value, and we have also currency swap agreements with UAE and Sri Lanka as well. Going to the next topic, that is credit deposit ratio. What does it mean? You just need to remember the meaning. It actually shows the percentage of loans a bank has given with respect to its deposit. So loan upon deposit, that is something. That is meaning only. You just need to remember, not much of importance. What is the effect of high credit deposit ratio? So if there is high now, then it is very like sometimes it might be cases of insolvency, because if you are giving more credit and you do not have sufficient funds, though we have like facility like CRR, SLR, right? So you just can remember this kind of things. Going to the next topic, that is RBI direction on fraud risk management. Not much of use, but regular entities you must be knowing. In economy sector, we actually in economy we study such kind of things. That is part of the static portion only. Supreme Court's recent judgment actually was in with respect to, it said regular entities shall ensure compliances with principles of natural justice in time-bound manner before a classifying entity is fraud. So firstly, you have to have give them right to hard, like if someone you are classifying as a fraud. So firstly, have a proper investigation, have a proper case, such kind of thing. Then only you can classify them as frauders. Moving to the next topic, that is wage and means advances system. What does it mean actually? It's actually kind of thing through it this advanced means and advanced system WMA. Actually, RBI provides advances to states and UTs to match temporary mismatches in cash flows, okay, with respect to receipts and payments. And this facility is also available with union government. So it is available for state governments, UTs, and union government, right? Then if you talk about special drawing facility is also available with with the states, and these instruments are governed by RBI Act 1934. So you can use, like they might ask in the UPSC prelims, like how, like through which these instruments are used. So special drawing facilities are there, is mentioned in the RBI Act. Then if you talk about this kind of, actually a special ways and means advance is known as special drawing facility, while normal. So special ways and means and after is actually scarce and normal. So what do you need? Like we need to understand special ways and advances means system is something Firstly, like you have this facility. Suppose like states need like funds for temporary purpose. So what they will do through this special WMA, okay, they will use firstly funds, okay. After using this window, they will go for normal this kind of WMA. Then there will be more interest on normal WMA. You just need to remember this thing, okay. So yeah, this is something I was talking about. And this interest rates are linked with repo rate. Repo rate is something you will be knowing. The bank, the interest rates at which RBI gives loans to the its entities, or like any finding, any like looking like it could be bank, it could be government as well. So those kind of things. Further special drawing facilities says can all be availed by state against its collateral of consolidated sinking fund. What is consolidated sinking fund? Actually, these kind of funds are reserve funds maintained by RBI with like of the states. Okay. Navata facility is something whenever financial accommodation to state exceed is SDF and WLM, you can use this kind of facility. So firstly, you have this special drawing facility, then you can use our DAF facility. Then domestic money transfer. This actually has been basically introduced or like regulated by money transfer services offered by regulated entities. Regulated entities, state commercial banks, cooperative banks, this kind of things, right? Then, if you talk about financial inclusion index, okay. If you talk about financial inclusion index, recently RBI has launched this index, okay. So for in March 2024, so it actually gives value around 64%, okay, with respect to 60% in March 2022. So in 1 year, like there has been 4% growth with respect to financial inclusion. 0 means like no financial exclusion, or 100 means full inclusion. Then actually SEBI has issued some guidelines with respect to credit rating agencies. As you know, the credit rating agencies are being regulated by SEBI Act 1992. Okay, and what does it mean? Like SEBI says, like companies has that power. They can request a review or appeal for rating decision that has been made by the credit rating agency. So like they have facility to buy. You have just underrated us. You can say so. What does it mean credit rating agencies? They are the opinion like whether the company will be able to pay timely repayment of your loan, or how much possibility of its getting default. That is something the credit ratings express their opinion. They are regulated, as already told, by SEBI, and India has around 7 credit rating agencies of its own. That's Crystal, Care, ICRA, Acute, Brickworth Rating, Indian Ratings and Research Private Limited, and lastly Informix Valuation and Rating Private Limited. You just need to remember these names. In the UPSC prelims, it has been asked already once about about Crystal. I think Crystal and Care. It already ICRA they have asked about. Okay, so just be aware about it. Brickworth Rating is also part of India, like Indian Credit Agency and Indian Rating Indra. Okay, and this is primarily, so we just need to remember the names. Moving further, not of much value. Okay, inverse EPF, not that kind of much value. Extended trade fund, so that you just can skip this. Okay, then moving further, it's about SHARE program. SHARE program is with respect to Women Internship Platform, and TransUnion Civil has launched SHARE program. Actually, it's a public-private partnership PP model. What does it mean? Actually, let's talk about it's kind of credit education program which help women entrepreneurs to access financial tools, like they can use, they can get credit, right? This kind of thing, they can have savings. So that kind of things is there. So this is something you need to remember, like women SHARE program is with respect to women empowerment in financial sector. Moving further, survey in unincorporated enterprises in India. So units unincorporated enterprises, what does it mean? It is a producer unit which is not incorporated as a legal entity separate from owner. Means it has not been like kind of it's one owner entity, you can say so. Like doesn't belong, it's like assets and doesn't belong to independent, but it's owners only. So it's kind of thinky. You can just remember the thinky. Its main assets and like its valuation are like associated with owner only, not with its enterprises. So this is something just need to remember. Not much important of things. So guys, we have just discussed the last section, that is economy. So almost half of the magazine has been completed. So thank you guys for your time. See you in the next lecture.